Okay, so next topic is under-rim pile. So talking about under-rim piles, the piles are successfully developed by CBRI Roorkee for serving as a foundation for black cotton soils, which is fill up the ground and other types of soil having poor bearing capacity. Right. So this under-rim pile is a board cast in situ concrete pile having one or more bulbs or under-rims in its lower portion. So the bulbs or under-rims are formed by under remaining tooth. So diameter of under-rim pile varies from 20 centimeter to 50 centimeter, and a bulb varies from 2 to 3 times the diameter of pile. So the length of under-rim pile is about 3 to 8 meter. The spacing of pile varies from 2 to 4 meter. So under-rim piles can also be used for sandy soils with a high water table. So load carrying capacity of under-rim piles can be increased by adopting piles or larger diameter or by the extending length of piles by making more bulbs at the base. Right. So a single under-rim pile has only one bulb at the bottom. When two or more bulbs are provided at the base, it is known as a multi-bulb under-rim piles. So the vertical spacing between two bulbs varies from 1.25 to 1.50 times diameter of bulb. So here first figure is indicated as a single bulb which is cast in situ pile, and second one is a multi bulb type. In this case, there are more than one bulbs given, right? So it is provided below the ground level, so that's why it's called underring or bulb. So in case of black cotton soils, the bulbs are not only increase the bearing capacity but also provide uh, but also provide anchor against the uplift, right? So static analysis for this under-rim piles. So the ultimate load carrying capacity of under-rim piles may also be found in the same manner as for driven piles, which is QU is equal to QB plus QS. So for single under-rim piles, the ultimate bearing load QU is given by QU is equal to QB into AB plus FS into AS. So small QB is equal to unit and bearing resistance of the bulb, which is equal to the ultimate bearing capacity of the soil at the bulb. EB is equal to cross-sectional area of bulb. FS is equal to unit soil friction resistance between the soils and the pile surface. AS is equal to surface area of the pile in contact with the soil. And second case is for multi under-rimmed pile for the ultimate bearing load, which is QU. So equation of Q is equal to small qb into AB plus FSAS plus FS bar AS bar. Here small qb is equal to unit and bearing resistance of the lowest bulb. AB is equal to cross-sectional area of the lowest bulb. FS is equal to unit friction resistance between the soils and the pile surface. AS is equal to surface area of embedded portion of the pile above the top bulb. Fs bar is equal to unit friction resistance between soil and soil. Right? AS bar is equal to surface area of a cylinder of diameter equal to the bulb diameter and the height, which is equal to the distance between the center of top and bottom bulbs. So it is assumed that the soil between the bulbs moves together with the bulb at ultimate load. So field tests indicate that the under-rim pile is more economical than a straight pile for a given load. So under-rim piles in a clay. In case of clay soils, the ultimate load for a single rim pile is given by QU is equal to CNCAB plus alpha CAS. Here AB is equal to cross-sectional area of bulb, NC is equal to 9 and alpha is equal to 0.4. So when the bulb is slightest above the tip, AB is taken equal to the diameter of the bulb and the projected stem below the bulb is ignored. So the average value of C at the bulb is taken. So however, if the bulb is quite high and there is a considerable difference in the value of C for the soil at the bulb level, and then at the level of bottom tip of the pile, the ultimate load is given by Q is equal to pi by 4 B square QC plus pi by 4 in bracket BA square minus B square multiplied by QC dash plus alpha C dash AS dash. So here B is equal to diameter of the pile shaft, B1 is equal to diameter of bulb, C is equal to cohesion at the tip of the pile, C dash is equal to cohesion at the bulb level, and AS dash is equal to effective surface area of pile shaft. So while we are calculating the area of AS dash, the length of the shaft equal to 2b above the bulb, which is totally neglected. So as the pile settles, there is some possibility of foundation of a small gap between the top of the bulb and the overlying soil over the length to be. So therefore, this length of the pile shaft is neglected. So little portion of the soil, this pile shaft projecting below the bulb is also neglected while computing AS dash. So when two or more bulbs are provided, the ultimate load is given by QU is equal to pi by 4 B square QC plus pi by 4 BL square minus B square multiplied by QC dash plus alpha CAAS dash plus CU dash AS bar. Here B is equal to diameter of the shaft, B1 is equal to diameter of the bulb, C is equal to cohesion at the tip of the pile, C dash is equal to cohesion at the level of lowest bulb, AS dash is equal to effective surface area of the pile shaft above the top, C is equal to average cohesion on the area surface area, which is AS dash. AS bar is equal to surface area of the cylinder of diameter equal to the bulb diameter B1 and the height equal to the distance between the center of top and bottom bulb. CA dash is equal to average cohesion on the surface area AS bar. Allowable load is obtained from the ultimate load. So the relation between the allowable load and ultimate load is Q all is equal to QU by F. Here F is equal to factor of safety, which is taken between 2.5 to 4. So according to the IS code, the minimum factor of safety for the static formula shall be 2.5. Now how your construction of underring piles are performed, right? So construction of underring piles starting, there are various stages in the construction of underring piles. So the equipment required for the construction of pile are: first one is a spiral auger, which is used for boring. Second is under reamer, which is used for making bulbs, and boring guides used to keep the hole vertical. So what are procedures to construct this pile? So first the ground is level, and then the boring guide is correctly positions. So soil inside the round collar is taken out. The spiral auger is then lowered into the round hole, so formed and rotated. So that's how boreholes are made, right? So when the auger becomes full of soil, it is taken out and auger is again lowered and the process is repeated. So the underrimming tool attached with a bucket at its end is then lowered into the hole with the help of boring guide. So when the pressure is applied on the lower underrimmer assembly, the blades open out and cut the soil with a drop in the bucket. So when the bucket is full, a pull is applied to the handle, and due to which the blades pull out vertically. So this assembly is then taken out from the empty bucket. The underrimmer is then again lowered in the hole, and the process of cutting the soil is continued till the required size of underrim bulb is obtained. So boring guide is removed. So the bulb is formed, inspected, and measured with the help of guiding tool. The reinforcement cage is then lowered in the bore hole so formed. Concrete funnel is then placed on the top of the bore hole, and at the last, concrete is gradually poured in the hole and compacted. So the main advantages of this pile, they prove to be economical to the tune of about 15 to 20% over the conventional strip footings. They do not require heavy excavation. No shoring is required, no backfilling is required, and the quantity of material required for these piles is very less. Next is a tension pile. So tall structures like chimney, transmission towers, water towers, these all are subjected to wind forces. So piles supporting these structures are required to resist this uplift force. So some of the piles in these structures are subjected to tensile forces and are known as a tension piles. So resistance to uplift forces is provided by the friction between the pile and the surrounding soil. So uplift resistance of a straight pile can be computed in the same manner as the frictional resistance in a friction pile. So the unit skin friction and the adhesion for the uplift resistance are very small than those for the compressive loads. So it is usual practice to reduce this value to 1/2 of the normal values if the piles are short. So for large construction, it is essential to carry out pull out this tests on piles to determine safe value of unit skin friction. So uplift resistance of pile can be considerably increased by providing a bell at the bottom. So Meyerhoff gave the following equation for the pull-out resistance, which is Pu. So first of all, for shallow piles, Pu is equal to cohesion resistance plus friction resistance. So Pu is equal to pi B1 Cu D plus SF gamma pi by 2 B1 D square Ku 10 phi plus W. So here B1 is equal to diameter of the enlarged base, C is equal to undrained cohesion, D is equal to length of pile, phi is equal to angle of shearing resistance, and Fs is equal to shape factor. So Ku is equal to coefficient of lateral earth pressure, which is Kp 10 2/3 phi. So here Kp is equal to 1 plus sin phi divided by 1 minus sin phi 10 2/3 phi. Gamma is equal to bulk unit weight, W is equal to weight of soil and pile in a cylinder of diameter B1 and height T. Next is for deep piles. So Pu is equal to cohesive resistance plus friction resistance. Right here, H is equal to maximum height of rupture phase. So for deep piles, height which is less than or equal to depth. So they generally refer to this table 3.3. So for purely cohesive soil, as phi is equal to 0, the second term of equation and 3.46 and 3.46 is 0. So for cohesion-less soil, Cu is equal to 0. So the first term is 0. So for short piles, SF is equal to 1 plus M D by B1. And for deep piles, SF is equal to 1 plus M H by B1. So here M is equal to M is a factor which is basically depends on the phi. Next is the sharing of load in a pile group. So first one, if the load is a central, then load on each pile Q is equal to Qg by N. Next is if the load is eccentric. So if the load acting on a pile group is eccentric or central load with moment, sharing sharing of loads is computed assuming the pile cap as rigid as the pressure distribution is linear. As the pressure distribution is linear and the pile reactions are also linearly with the distance from the centroid of the pile cap. So actual load on any pile M at a distance of x from the centroid is given by Qm is equal to Qg by N plus or minus Qg Ex into H divided by sigma x square. So Ex is equal to eccentricity of load about y axis. So if the load is eccentric about the both axes, the figure is like this.